At 2 a.m., the departure gate stops feeling like a place and starts feeling like a test. The dry airport AC moves over tired faces. A cancelled flight flashes on the board. Someone curses at the counter. Someone else raises a phone to record. A business traveler stands beside his suitcase, one hand locked around the handle, watching the crowd turn into something lower than people, louder, meaner, easier to join. This is how discipline is usually lost. Not in one dramatic collapse, but in permission. Everyone is angry, so anger feels justified. Everyone is shouting, so shouting feels normal. But what happens to a man when the room gives him every excuse to surrender his command? This is not a story about avoiding chaos. It is about standing inside it without letting the mob borrow your mouth, your eyes, or your name. The business traveler is not special because he is calm. He is special because he is not calm, and he notices it. That is the part most people skip. They imagine discipline as some clean, polished state where the pulse never jumps, the jaw never tightens, the thoughts never turn sharp. But at the departure gate, under that flat white airport light, his body is already responding. His shoulders are up. His mouth is dry. His phone has 10% battery. His calendar is still full of meetings that will now be missed. Somewhere in another city, people are expecting him to arrive rested, prepared, professional. Instead, he is standing at gate B17 at 2 a.m., breathing recycled air, listening to adults become a crowd. A man in a hoodie points at the gate agent like she personally stole the airplane. A woman near the charging station keeps repeating, "This is unacceptable," louder each time, as if volume can rebuild an aircraft schedule. Two college kids laugh at first, then join in when the mood turns hot. A father with a sleeping child on his shoulder steps back from the counter, not because he agrees, but because the room has changed temperature. The flight is cancelled. That is the fact. The mob is optional. And this is where the confrontation begins, not between passengers and airline staff, but between the business traveler and the version of himself that wants permission to become ugly. His hand tightens around the suitcase handle. The leather is warm from his palm now. Earlier, that handle meant movement. Control. A straight line from curbside check-in to boarding to landing to hotel. It was the handle of a man who had places to be. Now it feels more like a restraint. He could roll the suitcase forward. He could step into the crowd. He could let his voice rise with theirs. He could say the thing everyone is thinking but no one should throw at another human being at 2 a.m. He could become one more face pressing toward the counter, one more body asking a tired employee to absorb the disappointment of 100 strangers. And the dangerous part is that it would feel good for a few seconds. That is how social chaos recruits people. It does not begin by asking you to abandon your values. It begins by making your worst impulse feel socially approved. You look around and see other people losing control, and suddenly your own loss of control feels less like weakness and more like belonging. Anger becomes contagious because it gives the lonely ego a uniform. The business traveler can feel that pull. It is not a theory. It is in his chest. It is in the heat behind his eyes. It is in the small story forming in his mind. I paid for this. I have been patient. I have a right to be furious. They need to know what this costs me. Some of that story may even be true. But truth does not automatically make a reaction honorable. A cancelled flight is inconvenient. Maybe expensive. Maybe humiliating. Maybe it ruins tomorrow morning. But the deeper test is whether inconvenience can make him forget the kind of man he claims to be when life is smooth. Fudoshin is not the fantasy of being untouched by pressure. It is the discipline of staying under command while pressure is touching every nerve. At the gate, the outside world keeps expanding. More people stand. More voices overlap. The announcement that was supposed to explain the cancellation only adds fuel because nobody likes the wording. Mechanical issue. Rebooking options. Hotel vouchers pending availability. Please remain patient. That last word lands badly. Patient. A laugh moves through the crowd like a match dragged across concrete. Inside the business traveler, another crowd starts forming. One voice wants justice. One wants attention. One wants to punish somebody for the helplessness of waiting. One wants to call the airline and tear through a customer service representative. One wants to post something sharp online before the anger cools. One wants to look powerful because right now he feels trapped. This is the hidden humiliation of modern pressure. Not that things go wrong, but that when they do, we are forced to see how quickly our dignity depends on comfort. At home, in a clean shirt, after coffee, with a full night of sleep, anyone can believe they are composed. Anyone can talk about patience when the plan is working. But at 2 a.m., With the dry airport AC burning your eyes and the departure board turning your future into red text, the body wants something simpler than character. It wants release. It wants to throw the pressure outward. It wants a target. The gate agent becomes that target because she is standing there. Not because she built the delay. Not because she chose the maintenance issue. Not because she personally decided who sleeps on the floor and who gets a voucher. She is simply visible, and in social chaos, visibility often becomes guilt. This is where ordinary people lose their humanity in small, respectable ways. They do not think, I am about to become cruel. They think, I deserve to be heard. And being heard is not wrong. Asking questions is not wrong. Standing up for yourself is not wrong. Discipline does not mean becoming passive, silent, or soft in the face of bad treatment. But there is a line between asking for accountability and dumping your nervous system onto another person. The mob crosses that line because the mob does not want clarity. It wants discharge. The business traveler sees it when a man at the front slaps his boarding pass on the counter. Not hard enough to be dramatic, just hard enough to make the employee flinch. That tiny flinch is the whole lesson. A small movement in the shoulders of a stranger. A brief closing of the eyes. A human being trying not to absorb what the room is throwing. The traveler's fingers loosen slightly on the suitcase handle. There it is. The first gap. Not peace. Not wisdom. Not some perfect cinematic calm. Just a gap wide enough to see that joining the angry mob would not fix the flight. It would only make him easier to control. That is the strange truth of anger in a crowd. It feels powerful while it is taking command away from you. It tells you that you are standing up for yourself, while it copies the posture of everyone around you. It tells you that you are speaking your mind, while your words become borrowed from the loudest person in the room. It tells you that you are refusing disrespect, while you slowly become disrespectful yourself. Social chaos does not need you to be evil. It only needs you to stop noticing. So the traveler notices. He notices the AC drying the back of his throat. He notices the pressure in his hand. He notices the suitcase handle, no longer just luggage, but a question: are you carrying your life, or is the crowd carrying you? He notices his breath coming short and high. He notices the desire to step forward not because it would help, but because it would feel better than standing still. That distinction matters. A disciplined man is allowed to act. He is allowed to speak. He is allowed to ask for the next available flight, a hotel voucher, a written confirmation, a realistic timeline. Calm command is not weakness. It is not letting the ugliest person in the room set the terms of your behavior. The contrast is not between anger and silence. The contrast is between reaction and command. Reaction says, I will make my discomfort visible until someone pays for it. Command says, I will keep my dignity intact while I pursue what is necessary. Reaction says, if everyone else is shouting, I am allowed to shout too. Command says, the crowd does not vote on my character. Reaction says, this delay has taken my control. Command says, it has taken my schedule. Not my mouth. Not my posture. Not my name. The business traveler is still tired. Still frustrated. Still stranded. Nothing magical has happened. The flight is not restored because he breathed once through his nose. The airline does not suddenly produce a hidden aircraft because he chooses restraint. This is not a fantasy about getting rewarded for being calm. It is about something harder. It is about refusing to become worse just because the night got worse. That is the confrontation at 2 a.m. Not the cancelled flight. Not the airline policy. Not even the people screaming at the staff. The true confrontation is the moment when a man realizes the mob is not outside him only. It is also waiting inside him, dressed in reasons, carrying evidence, asking for permission. And with one hand on the suitcase handle, under the dry airport AC, he has to decide whether his frustration will be placed under command, or allowed to command him. Discipline does not begin after you feel calm. It begins in the first second you realize you are about to lose command. For the business traveler, that second arrives with his thumb pressed into the seam of the suitcase handle. The mob is still moving. The gate agent is still being surrounded. The red word cancelled still sits on the screen like a verdict. Nothing outside him has softened. So the training has to begin before the room improves. That is the part people misunderstand. They wait for better conditions before they practice control. They say, I will be patient once they explain it better. I will be respectful once I am treated fairly. I will lower my voice once the people around me lower theirs. But if your discipline depends on the room becoming reasonable, then the room is in command. At 2 a.m., under the dry airport AC, his first practice is not dramatic. He does not close his eyes. He does not perform calm for an audience. He simply stops moving forward. One step not taken. That is the first cut. His body wanted to follow the crowd toward the counter, because movement feels like power when you are stranded. But he plants both shoes on the airport carpet and lets the suitcase stay beside him. He does not abandon the problem. He only refuses to let his first impulse become his first action. Then he names the heat inside him without making a speech out of it. Anger. Embarrassment. Helplessness. Not out loud. Not for the room. Just inside his own mind, plain and exact. The purpose is not to shame the emotion. The purpose is to stop pretending the emotion is strategy. Anger can give information. It can tell him that something matters, that time has been lost, that his plans are damaged. But anger is a terrible dispatcher at an airport gate. It sends every response to the wrong address. So he gives it a name, and by naming it, he takes back a little space. His second practice is the suitcase handle. He loosens his grip until his fingers are touching it instead of strangling it. The handle becomes a measuring instrument. When his hand tightens, he knows the crowd is getting inside him again. When his palm softens, he knows he is returning to himself. The suitcase was built to carry clothes, chargers, documents, polished shoes for tomorrow's meeting. Now it carries something else. It carries the line between pressure and conduct. He breathes once through his nose. Not deep enough to look theatrical. Just enough to bring the air down from his throat into his chest. The airport AC is dry and stale, but it is still air. He takes it in. He lets his shoulders drop half an inch. That half inch matters. In social chaos, the body often votes before the mind does. A raised shoulder, a hard jaw, a forward lean, these are small ballots cast for the mob. He changes the vote. Third, he lowers his eyes from the crowd to the facts. There is the board. Cancelled. There is the counter. Overrun. There is the airline app. Slow, but working. There is his phone battery. 10%. There is a charging outlet near a closed coffee kiosk. There is a line forming for customer service that is angry but real. This is how a battlefield shrinks. The undisciplined mind tries to fight the entire night at once. It fights the cancelled flight, the missed meeting, the hotel reservation, the client's opinion, the airline's policy, the sleep it will not get, the unfairness of the whole system, and the humiliation of standing there like a man who has no control. No human mind stays honorable while trying to fight that many enemies at the same time. So he reduces the battle to the next correct action. Not the perfect action. Not the action that restores the whole plan. The next correct action. He rolls the suitcase toward the outlet. Slowly. Not because the outlet is heroic, but because a dead phone will make him more helpless in 20 minutes. He plugs in. He opens the airline app. He takes a screenshot of the cancellation notice. He checks rebooking options before stepping into any line. He sends one clean message to the person expecting him tomorrow. Flight cancelled at 2 a.m. Rebooking now. I'll update you when I have a confirmed route. No rage essay. No apology soaked in panic. No performance. Just facts under command. Fourth, he chooses the tone he will use before he reaches the counter. This matters because most people decide their tone after the emotion has already entered their mouth. By then, the voice is gone. The mob has it. So before he speaks to anyone, he sets the rule: low voice, short sentences, specific request. When his turn comes, he will not begin with accusation. He will not make the gate agent pay an emotional tax before answering a travel question. He will say, "I know this is a hard night. I need the earliest rebooking option and any hotel information available." That sentence does not make him weak. It makes him easier to help. Respect is not decoration in a crisis. It is a tool that keeps the channel clear. The room is full of people demanding to be treated like individuals while treating the staff like furniture. The disciplined person refuses that contradiction. He can be firm without becoming cruel. He can ask again if the answer is vague. He can document what is said. He can escalate later through the proper channels. But he does not confuse volume with strength. Fifth, he studies the crowd without absorbing it. A man near the desk is pacing in short, angry lines. A woman is crying quietly into her sleeve. A teenager is asleep across two plastic chairs with a backpack under his head. The gate agent keeps touching the radio clip near her shoulder, waiting for information she does not yet have. When the traveler looks carefully, the mob stops being one monster and becomes tired people with broken plans. That does not excuse bad behavior. It prevents infection. The shadow in him, joining the angry mob, feeds on a simple lie: if they are doing it, I can do it. Careful attention breaks that spell. He sees the cost of it. The red faces. The wasted breath. The staff retreating behind a tighter voice. The line moving slower because every passenger must first unload a private storm. He decides not to add weight to a room already breaking under it. Sixth, he turns waiting into ritual. Every 5 minutes, he checks only what needs checking: app, battery, line movement, official announcements. Then he returns his hand to the suitcase handle and softens his grip. He does not doom scroll outrage posts about the airline. He does not refresh his anger for entertainment. He does not rehearse an imaginary courtroom speech in which everyone finally admits he is right. He stands. He breathes. He observes. He acts when action is available. That rhythm becomes a quiet drill. Handle. Breath. Facts. Next action. Low voice. Again. This is Shugyo inside Fudoshin, training carried out in the middle of pressure. Not training as punishment. Not endurance for ego. Training as the intelligent shaping of conduct when the world becomes loud. And slowly, the suitcase handle changes meaning. At first it was control over a schedule. Then it was restraint against the crowd. Now it becomes a return point. His hand finds it each time the room surges. Each time someone shouts, "This is insane," each time another passenger storms away from the counter, each time the announcement fails to satisfy the crowd, he feels the handle under his palm and remembers, I do not have to become the temperature of this room. The cancelled flight is still cancelled. The night is still inconvenient. The AC is still dry, and his eyes still burn. But his command no longer depends on comfort. It depends on a sequence he can repeat while uncomfortable. Stop. Name the emotion. Anchor the body. Shrink the battle. Choose the next correct action. Guard the tone. Return to the handle. That is how a man stays human at gate B17 when the room is trying to make humanity feel optional. The room does not become peaceful all at once. That would be too easy. At gate B17, the anger keeps moving in waves. Every few minutes, a new person reaches the front of the line and believes their frustration is the one that will finally break the system open. Every few minutes, the gate agent gives some version of the same answer, with the same tired mouth, under the same cold light. The departure board does not apologize. The cancelled flight does not uncancel itself. But something has changed. Not in the airport. In the man holding the suitcase handle. Earlier, he stood beside it like a trapped passenger, his grip tight, his body leaning toward the heat of the crowd. The handle was a symbol of everything interrupted: his schedule, his control, his clean little idea that effort should protect a man from inconvenience. Now his hand rests on it differently. Not loose with indifference. Not tight with anger. Steady. The suitcase is still beside him, but he is no longer being dragged by the room. This is the first sign of transformation. The outside noise still exists, but it no longer gets to choose his shape. He watches a man step away from the counter muttering under his breath. The old version of him would have used that as permission. See? Everyone is fed up. Nobody is staying composed. Why should I? But the disciplined version sees something else. He sees a warning. He sees how quickly a human being can hand over his face, his voice, his posture, his judgment, and call it honesty. He sees that the mob is not strength multiplied. It is weakness given company. So when his turn finally comes, he rolls the suitcase forward with a quiet sound over the carpet. The gate agent looks up like she is preparing to be hit by another storm. He sees that look. That matters. Because the crowd has trained her body to expect impact from every person who approaches. She does not know him. She only knows the last hour. She knows raised voices, phones pointed at her name tag, questions shaped like accusations. She knows people who want information but begin by punishing the messenger. He places one hand on the suitcase handle and keeps the other visible at his side. His voice stays low. I know this is a hard night. I'm trying to get rebooked with the earliest possible arrival. Can you tell me what options are still open? Nothing about that sentence fixes the airport. But it changes the space between two people. The gate agent blinks once, as if her nervous system was ready for a shove and received a chair instead. Her shoulders lower a fraction. She looks at the screen. She asks for his last name. He gives it clearly. She types. The line behind him shifts and complains, but he does not turn around to join it. He has already decided whose command he is under. A few minutes earlier, that would have felt impossible. Not because he did not know the right thing to do, But because the crowd had made the wrong thing feel easier. Now the right thing is still hard. But it is available. That is what transformation usually looks like in real life. Not a grand emotional victory. Not applause. Not a perfect ending where the people who stayed calm get rewarded with an empty first-class seat and a personal apology from the universe. He gets a route with a connection he does not want. He gets a hotel voucher that may or may not cover the place he can actually reach. He gets a food voucher for restaurants that are mostly closed. He gets instructions that require patience from a man who has already spent too much of it. But he also gets something the crowd cannot give him and the airline cannot take from him. He gets to leave the counter with his dignity intact. There is a kind of quiet power in that, but it is not the power people usually chase. It does not dominate the room. It does not win a public argument. It does not make strangers fear him or admire him. It simply keeps him from becoming a smaller version of himself in a difficult hour. He steps away from the desk and returns to the outlet near the closed coffee kiosk. The air is still dry. His eyes still burn. Somewhere down the terminal, a cleaning machine hums over the floor. A child coughs in her sleep. A man in a suit jacket is sitting with his head in his hands, tie loosened, phone glowing against his face. The business traveler looks at the new itinerary on his screen. It is bad. But it is real. And real can be handled. The mob keeps asking the night to become fair before they become disciplined. He has learned, in this small ugly pocket of modern life, that the order has to be reversed. You do not wait for fairness to recover your command. You recover command so that unfairness does not turn you into someone you will have to answer for later. He sends another message. Rebooked. Not ideal, but confirmed. I'll arrive late morning. I'll adjust the meeting plan once I'm at the hotel. Again, no drama. No heroic suffering. No long complaint designed to harvest sympathy. Just the next clean piece of truth. Then he does something almost invisible. He places the phone face down beside him. For a moment, he does not feed the anger. He does not search for people online who are angrier than he is. He does not turn the cancellation into entertainment. He lets the night be unpleasant without becoming possessed by it. His hand returns to the suitcase handle. At the beginning of the night, that handle represented motion. The life he thought he controlled. A flight, a schedule, a plan, a professional identity built around arriving on time and looking prepared. In the middle of the chaos, it became restraint. Something to hold instead of the throat of the moment. A physical reminder not to step forward just because the crowd stepped forward. Now it becomes a standard. A small private standard. Whenever his fingers touch it, he remembers the rule he has chosen. I do not let the loudest room decide the quality of my conduct. This is samurai discipline in a modern airport, with no armor, no ceremony, no dramatic battlefield, just a tired man, a cancelled flight, a gate agent under pressure, and the dry AC moving over everyone like the night has no mercy. The old warrior image is unnecessary here. The test is not whether he can defeat an enemy. The test is whether he can refuse to create one just because he is inconvenienced. That is harder than it sounds. Because the ego loves a justified enemy. It loves having someone to blame, someone to corner, someone to humiliate with the approval of the crowd. It loves the clean feeling of being right more than the demanding work of being honorable. But honor, in this moment, is not soft. It is precise. It is the decision to ask without attacking. To be firm without feeding the fire. To protect your own needs without treating another person as a container for your frustration. To stand in a room full of borrowed anger and decline the loan. Hours later, when he is lying on a hotel bed with bad pillows and a wake-up call that will come too soon, he will still be tired. Tomorrow will still require repair. He will still have to explain, adjust, reschedule, show up with less sleep than he wanted. But he will not have to replay the moment he became cruel at an airport counter. He will not have to wonder why he let strangers rewrite his character for him. He will remember the suitcase handle under his palm. And he will know that at 2 a.m., when the crowd invited him to become less human, he stayed under command. The flight was cancelled. His discipline was not. Your battlefield may not be an airport gate. It may be an office where everyone is blaming someone. A kitchen where fatigue makes your voice sharper than your values. A commute, a classroom, a hospital hallway, a late night message you should not send. But the test is the same. At some point, the room will invite you to become less than yourself. It will offer you permission. It will say, everyone else is doing it. You have a right. And maybe you do. But rights do not replace command. When that moment comes, find your suitcase handle. Find the physical thing that brings you back. Loosen your grip. Lower your voice. Shrink the battle. Choose the next clean action. If this spoke to you, carry it quietly into the next hard room.